Okay, welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Had to give a little shout out to Emerson, Lake and Palmer there, one of my favorite bands of all time, but that's neither here nor there. So, we are now about ready to actually start the cooking process. As you can see, the coals are getting very white, and that's what you want when they're completely white. That's when you know that they're ready to go. So what I am going to do is I am going to transport these to my firebox. However, I am not going to do that while I'm filming because that could present a fire hazard, and it's all about cooking safely. Don't want any industrial accidents while we're making our ribs. So I am going to pause real quick, and then I am going to take these over to the grill and we will proceed from there. Okay, we are back. And as you can see, the coals are now in the firebox. And what we are going to do, well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to spray the ribs down with some ACV, apple cider vinegar, for those of you in Pinellas Park. And we are going to close this up. Make sure you get those nice and wet. And now we are going to get about 3 or 4 decent sized chunks of hickory wood and just throw them right on there. One more for good measure. And what's going to happen now is you will eventually start to see the smoke coming out of the chimney here. And the temperature, I like to cook right in the neighborhood of 225, give or take. It's hard to regulate when you're working with charcoal, but 225 is usually the magic point as far as temperature is concerned. The important thing for me when doing ribs, the first 2 hours, you want to try and get as much smoke on these ribs as possible. I mentioned it in the first video. That's what's going to give you that nice pink smoke ring. And the same thing applies if you're doing like pork butt, like a Boston butt or something like that. But that's critical for the first couple of hours. What's going to happen after, and also too, I forgot to mention, every 30 minutes what I do is I come out and I rotate the ribs, because as you can see, it's closed now. But I like to rotate them because you don't want the same slab being as close to the fire during the entire cooking process. You want to kind of evenly distribute that. So every half hour I will come out here and I will open the lid, I will rotate the ribs, and then I will spray them again with ACV. So okay, here we go. Now you're starting to see what we want. You want that smoke coming out of there. And all that smoke is just gonna penetrate that meat and give you that nice pink ring. After these first 2 hours, what we're going to do, and this is where the electric smoker box comes in hand, we're going to take the ribs off of the grill and we're going to take them inside and we're going to wrap them in aluminum foil. And what we're going to do is we're going to pour a little bit of apple juice inside the aluminum foil with the ribs. We're going to wrap them really tight, and then we're going to throw them in here in the electric smoker for 2 hours, and they're just going to sit here and steam. We're not concerned about smoke at that point, and that's what's going to break the meat down and have the bones start to fall out, because that's what you want. And that will take place after 2 hours. And the reason that I use an electric smoker for that part of the process is that I can regulate the temperature and I don't have to use extra charcoal, because all you're concerned about at that point is just maintaining the temperature, and it's wasteful to light more coals and have the ribs sit on here when you can just use the electric smoker and you're just using electricity. So that will take place in a couple of hours. Now, as you can see, I hope we can get a shot of the thermometer here. It's inching above 200, so we're getting our desired temperature here. And one thing I did forget to mention in the first video, prior to all of this process beginning, I make sure that my grill is clear of any kind of debris like ashes, just anything that could possibly hold the temperature down. So I usually do that the night before, just like I do with the ribs. And I keep remembering stuff that I forgot to mention. The ribs, I rubbed them 2 nights ago with it's a store-bought rub. It's called Butt Rub, and it's got your standard ingredients in it. And one thing also that you want to do is when you buy ribs at the store, if you turn them on their back, you'll notice that there's like a membrane on the back that you actually want to strip off. Basically what you do is you cut a little hole with like a paring knife and grab a paper towel and just strip that membrane off the back. And the reason that you want to do that is because that helps the smoke permeate into the ribs. Whereas if you were to leave that membrane on, you don't get as much smoke in there. Although some people have said it doesn't matter. I prefer to do it that way. Funny story, when I first started doing ribs, I always used to dread that part of the process because it was such a freaking pain in the ass until I figured out how to do it correctly. And now it's like, it's like second nature. You just, like I said, you cut a little piece and you grab a paper towel and just strip it right off. So we are going really good here. We are up, there we go. We're already at 225. So the grill is at the right temperature. So what's going to happen is we're just going to sit tight for about 30 minutes, and then I will come back out, and as I said, I will rotate the ribs and spray them down with ACV, and that's about it. And also I wanted to make sure I mentioned, wish everybody a happy Memorial Day weekend, all of my viewers here in the US. Now I may, I'm not sure, may have some international viewers. So if you're watching from outside the US, greetings to you as well, and thank you for tuning in. So we will see you for the next installment. And one more look here. As you can see, we've got good temperature there. We're right around we're actually getting a little close to 250, so a little bit higher, but that's not going to be a problem. So we will see you back for volume 3.